name's Michelle Flanagan, and I'm an associate professor in the Plant Pathology and Plant Sciences Department at Montana State University, and I'll be your genetics instructor for the Osher Lifelong Learning Center series this fall. Beginning September 21st from 3:30 to 5:30, we'll discuss interesting topics in genetics, including the fundamentals, especially eukaryotic gene regulation, as well as hot topics including CRISPR-Cas-mediated gene editing. I have over 10 years of experience teaching genetics and virology at MSU, and I look forward to interacting with you this fall. In the meantime, if you'd like to check out more about the research I do investigating the fundamental interactions between honeybees and the viruses that infect them, you can check out these videos online. Again, my name's Michelle Flanagan, and I look forward to seeing you this fall at the genetics course for Olli.
Hello, this is Tony Dimitriadis, and I will be entertaining you this month and next month with stories of what I call mysteries, concealments, and the art of deception. We will deal with important historical events for which the true facts were unknown or hidden or distorted to keep people from discovering the truth. Now, we will talk about the British code breakers who managed to read the famous Zimmerman telegram, by which the United States was prompted to enter World War I and to help the Allies defeat the adherents of Germany's Kaiser Wilhelm. Then we will discuss the revelations now known about Operation Mincemeat, the elaborate deception set up by Britain and America to mislead Adolf Hitler about the true target of the Allied landings in the Mediterranean in 1943, and to thus help win World War II. We will examine the truth behind the Piltdown Man. You may have heard of that. The Piltdown Man was a hoax, which was designed to show that a million-year-old human fossil, which was unearthed in the Norfolk countryside, was used to derail the true story of human evolution. We will look into the history and interpretation of the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone, one of the first language dictionaries ever devised, and how this indifferent little piece of granite eventually led to the truth and revelation of the ancient Egyptian culture and of the entire Middle East. And finally, as a reward for your patience, we will present two stories about codes in fiction, I call them. One story written by Arthur Conan Doyle and the other by Edgar Allan Poe, in which stories the solution of secret writing solved the crime and also unearthed a pirate's treasure. So I will see you in September. Thank you very much.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jack Reisman, retired professor of plant pathology at Montana State University, and I still host Montana Ag Live and also co-produce that program for Montana Public Television System. I've had about 40 years of experience in Montana agriculture, and I've seen some dynamic changes. I'd like to share those changes with you, many of which were due to climate change or climate modification. Join me in a class coming up this fall, and we'll talk about the 80s, the 90s, 2000, and the recent decade, and find out how climate has modified production agriculture in the state of Montana. What you'll find is that I'm not a lecturer. I'm an entertaining type of person when it comes to classroom activities. I'll challenge you, and I expect you to challenge me. It will be highly interactive, and I guarantee you, you will not get a nap during the hour program this fall. Join me, and hope to see you there this fall. Have a good summer. Goodbye.
During 2 weeks in October, I'm going to be teaching a course on Yellowstone's dynamic geology. As you know, Yellowstone's been a scientific laboratory for decades for researchers from all over the world. It's a place of discovery and inspiration. And we're going to talk about three of those scientific discoveries. The first is the supervolcano that exists under Yellowstone. The second is the impact that the last ice age had on Yellowstone, which is huge. Yellowstone was covered by a large ice cap that was a mile thick in the center of Yellowstone. And the third is how the present ecosystem developed since the last ice age and what are the changes that it's experienced as a result of climate change. So the class is set up as 4 lectures that are going to be about an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And then the last day, we're going to go to Yellowstone for the day and look at some of the things that we've talked about in class. Now, I've worked in Yellowstone for the last 40 years, and for the last 15 years or so, I've taught a course on Yellowstone to freshman students, people who have no scientific background, but just want to know more about what's going on in our backyard. So I hope that you'll sign up for this class and bring your freshman enthusiasm, but also your years of intellectual curiosity, and together we'll talk about Yellowstone and its geology and its environmental history. Thanks.
I'm delighted to be presenting here on behalf of Montana State University and their Osher Lifelong Learning Institute programs. Our topic is 6 Biblical Conundrums and how science helps us resolve them. Our first is the issue of the creation story. And I will discuss various creation stories throughout the world, and then talk about the creation story that we understand through modern science with regard to the Big Bang and how the Big Bang, a very unscientific name, but that's what we use, explains to us how the universe was created. I'm going to share the screen and show you what the universe seems to have looked like based upon modern technology, modern astrophysics, astronomy, and cosmology. Back sometime around 19.2 billion years ago, there was a gigantic explosion in the universe. We don't know where it came from or why or how. And out of that explosion came the entire universe as we know it. And that explosion is called the Big Bang. I'll also talk a bit more about such things as the way that matter was formed, and eventually the entire world that we know, the entire universe that we know was created. And then we'll be able to see just to what degree the biblical account, as we know it from the book of Genesis, either matches or doesn't match what modern cosmology tells us about creation. We'll then do the same thing with the story of the flood, where here we'll rely upon meteorology, geology, and the study of glaciers to help us understand whether or not there actually was a flood, and if so, where and when, and how people survived. The process of glaciation creating gigantic lakes, and those lakes eventually overflowing the natural dams that were created by the glacier's retreat, will help us understand better how geology and ultimately archaeology will explain the flood. Then we'll move on. Next question is Abraham. And Abraham is a very interesting character. We learn a lot about him from the biblical account. And we discovered that there are some things in his past that aren't all that nice. For example, the Bible tells us in no uncertain terms that he pimped his wife to the Pharaoh, and he received 1,000 shekels of silver in exchange. Do you know that? The man pimped his wife, and it says so in the Bible. Well, this picture here is not Abraham. Don't be confused. It's a wall painting in Egypt dating to about Abraham's time, which shows us what a family akin to Abraham's might have looked like coming into Egypt. We'll go over this in more detail and talk more about Abraham. After Abraham, we will go to the Exodus and talk about the story of the Exodus and how that allows us to understand the reality behind the whole story. Were there really 10 plagues? Did the sea split? Where is Mount Sinai? And other stuff just like that. We will conclude after the Exodus story with a look at the dynasty of King David and what evidence we have for its very existence. And then we'll conclude our sixth session with a survey of the Dead Sea Scrolls and what they tell us about, well, basically the origins of Christianity in a Jewish messianic movement during the time of the Roman conquest. And I look forward to seeing you there. I hope you bring good questions, and I will provide you with an outline, which I hope will prompt some of those questions. Thank you very much for your attention. It's been delightful talking to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Miranda Murray and I am an Indigenous Education for All instructional coach as well as co-owner for Bright Trail Education.
My name is Jordan Linkford Forster. My Ani name is Sikbion Nitha, which means Bright Trail Woman. I am a Ani and Anishinaabe.
Through Bright Trail Education, our goals are to provide communities with culturally competent educational strategies and professional development.
We're very excited for our upcoming learning series called Indian Education for All and the Essential Understandings, where we will be engaging in dialogue and activities concerning American Indian historical and contemporary issues. This will be a safe place to ask all of your questions, and it'll also be a very fun place for us all to grow together in our cultural journey. And so we hope to see you October 26th, November 2nd, November 9th, and November 16th.
Thanks everyone, thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Smith, coming to you live, at least at the time of this recording, from the Philosophical Center of the Universe, also known as my office here in Seattle. I'm happy to teach for the Osher Institute here at the University of Washington and also for Montana State University this fall. We have a fun series. It's called Themes in Philosophy. It's one of my favorites. I get to do adult continuing education full-time after having been a college professor for many years. And this is something that is just ongoing research. Themes in philosophy. So let me show you a little bit of the PowerPoint here. I call this series my philosophy buffet because it's a different topic every week. Now, philosophy should be fun, it should be exciting, it should be related to real life. Real philosophy is related to real life. It is the love of wisdom, not technically the love of knowledge. So I see wisdom as the ability to apply knowledge in the real world in a constructive way. The ability to apply knowledge in the real world in a constructive way. So it is possible, we think, to be a brilliant fool. And that's not what we're aiming for here. Philosophy, wisdom, ultimately, it's about life and how to live well. So here is our agenda for the fall. Can't wait. Rationality. What does it mean to think rationally? And what is the role of reason in our lives? What is knowledge? How is it different from opinion? Mind. What is the relationship between your mind and your brain? Culture, what is it? And how do people invoke it in our culture? And finally, the dessert on your buffet, philosophy of humor. Super fun, and I hope you'll join us. Thanks.
Hi everyone.
How you doing?
I'm Candy. This is Sam, and we are obsessed with musicals.
We are.
We've acted in musicals together. We've directed musicals together. We lecture about musicals together. And Sam, how do we present the lecture?
Well, what we're going to show is some videos, some musical videos, and we're going to dissect them with you. And we're going to talk about the golden age of the original movie musical, which was the 1950s. In no other time period were so many great musicals made. And right now, we could all use a little Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, and Judy Garland, can't we?
Absolutely. So I hope you'll join us. And if you don't already love musicals, maybe we can convince you to love them like we do. Bye now.
My name is Steve Maley. I'll be leading our 6-part series about one of the most exotic and interesting countries in the world. Those of you who've attended a rodeo in Montana have probably heard Canada's national anthem, O Canada, about the true north, strong and free. My slight variation, like this, is a tongue-in-cheek commentary on my pet peeve as a bona fide and long-suffering Canadianist. For many Americans over many decades, Canada has been and continues to be an afterthought, just that big, almost empty vacation land to the north of us. You may have a much richer and more sophisticated appreciation for Canada than that, but I want to assure you that this course will inform you in a fresh and entertaining way about our nearest and most significant neighbor. My approach to the substance of the course will be thematic. I'll be addressing matters of history, geography, political economy, arts and culture, and international relations. I'll use PowerPoints to illustrate concepts, patterns of behavior, historical personages, literary genius, that sort of thing. I will provide a short list of reading and viewing recommendations at our first gathering. I will also endeavor to overcome a tendency to talk too much, so that we'll have time for lively discussion. I self-identified earlier as a Canadianist. I'm not from Canada, but I've been there a lot, and at a relatively early age, I fell in love with the place. My formal education is in international affairs, specializing in Canadian studies. That's a rare discipline. I tell you the truth about that. I'll spare you further details for now, except to say that my wife and I moved from Washington, D.C. to Montana in 1982 because this is the only state bordering 3 distinct Canadian provinces, and because an entrepreneurial professor of political science at Montana State University had the audacity to start a little think tank of applied research called the 49th Parallel Institute. I hope this introduction piques your interest. I look forward to sharing ideas and experiences with you next fall. Until then, au revoir.
And I invite you to my class, The Glamour of Grammar. This is a class for language nerds and for everyone else who wants to find out about what grammar really is. We're going to talk about all things grammar that were not taught in school, and I'll share a lot of fascinating things with you. In this class, we'll see that how words are put together in English and how sentences are made out of words is governed by the kinds of rules that they don't teach you in school. So we'll find out that even sounds, which sounds can be put next to which other sounds, is also subject to grammar. And grammar even controls things that we don't say out loud. There is such a thing as the grammar of silence. And while most of this class is going to be concerned with English, a language that we all speak, we'll also see that there are no such things as languages without grammar. Even languages of little tribal groups somewhere in the jungle have grammar. And in fact, they might have grammar that's more complicated and more sophisticated than the grammar of English. A lot of surprising facts are coming. And we'll ask a big question too. A big question for this class is going to be why? Why grammar? Why is there such a thing as grammar in the first place? Why are there no grammarless languages on this planet? And there never have been. I will give you some answers to this and other questions in this class. It'll be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you in the fall. Thank you.
Welcome everybody to My Neighbor's Voice, which is a class all about listening to your neighbor, just as it says. And we have developed a structured way to do that. And it's with what we call our My Neighbor's Voice listening cards. And we have 9 different categories that we are able to offer to you there. But within the time limit, we'll probably just focus on 4 or 5 of those that were given. But a sample of those are civic rights and responsibilities, our society, American culture, health and environment, sacred thought. And you can kind of guess by those names what the topics would be, political thought. And within each of those categories, we have 20 questions. And each question is different from the one before, but related to the topic that of, for example, political thought. And so the structure goes like this. You have a moderator who models reading the question and then answering within the 3-minute time that we have allotted for everybody to give an answer. And we do usually 3 rounds, depending on how fast that goes. And after that, we have a time of breaking out and just with each other talking about any questions that we had about the questions, or elaborating more on them, answering a question that you may not have had that you wish you'd had, or just talking about the experience of listening 80% of the time and talking 20% of the time. And so the goal here is to just build community and to give a tool to your community there to go out and build a community of their own around listening, and also just to build back into the fabric of our society that gift of listening to each other instead of just having a knee-jerk reaction when a topic comes up. So that's what we look forward to having our time together with you later this fall, and excited about who all may come. Thank you.